Good morning, YouTube Live. This is Jamie Ali Law here with you. Um, and this morning, I am inspired to talk about coaching, specifically why coaching. Coaching is a relatively new field, or I should say, life coaching is a relatively new arena. And it's so vast and broad. Like there are so many different approaches to it. There's so many different specializations and focuses. Um, and so it can just kind of be like, it's easy to kind of get lost in the field of what life coaching actually is, um, and why somebody would do life coaching, why somebody would want to receive life coaching. Like oftentimes we're familiar with the concept of athletic coaching, right? And how, if you want to be a better basketball player, you listen to the coach. And then when you want to step up your own individual skills, you might get a private coach outside of that just to focus in on the things that you need to focus on. Um, but to look at it from a life coaching perspective, we may or may not be familiar with that. So I was inspired to talk about why I personally have a life coach and what I offer as a life coach. And actually, this inspiration came to me as I was journaling this morning. So I figured I'm just going to start reading from my journal and just kind of flow with it, if y'all don't mind. So, oftentimes I'm talking, I talk about how I preach to my own self, right? Like when I have these moments of clarity and everything, like it's directed at me. So in order to achieve the next level, to achieve actualization, it requires being more rather than doing more. This is a new thing in the area you seek to grow. So for me, um, I'm a doer, right? Like as soon as I find out that something is needed, I go in and I head into it. And I have achieved many successes from that approach, right? Like um, I've got a thriving music education business. I am an active performer. Um, I have a private vocal teaching studio. I have an amazing daughter. I have wonderful relationships in my life. Um, and some of that was acquired by lots and lots and lots of work. Work in areas that I love and I'm appreciative of it. Um, but it's been a lot of work. And what I am finding in my own spiritual development and through my coaching is that the next level that of success that I'm looking to achieve, the broadening of my sphere that I'm looking for, is going to be acquired not by trying to do more activity, but being more. And when I say being more, I'm saying being more of myself. And so, you know, why coaching? What has coaching offered me? So, coaching, oftentimes when we've had successes, and that's who I focus on. My area of focus is typically women, successful women, women who have been successful against odds, like in hyper masculine field, or with people who have had challenges in their way and have succeeded, right? They have overcome. So oftentimes when we have experienced successes in this way, um, it becomes a challenge to distinguish um, between what is our authentically us and what are those things that we put on or that we learn and acquire in order to survive in hostile environments, right? And some of this stuff we acquire not just from our own experience, but we acquire it from observing others. We acquire it because we were taught it by our parents. Some of these things are passed down ancestrally, right? We have had certain experiences that have been passed down, and so we've learned certain coping mechanisms and survival skills that were necessary, right, to live. Um, but sometimes we get so practiced at those things that it's hard for us to distinguish who we really are at our core from these survival mechanisms, right? So, with a coach, we have the opportunity to really uncover, take off those layers, right? I do this with my voice students too. So, a lot of times in voice lessons, we're singing and we're singing from these different habits or techniques that we learn from observation, or these things that because we feel like we don't know another way, we put this on and it's like, oh, this is the way that I get to my high notes. And we do these things in a way that may not be healthy in the long run. So we have to learn to take off these habits. And sometimes it's even hard to see what those habits are, right? Because they're so entrenched, we're so enmeshed with them. We think that they are us. We think that this is just the way it is, right? But when you've got an objective pair of eyes who go in there for the purpose of being curious, for the purpose of reflecting back to you what you're putting out and causing you to have new awarenesses like, I didn't think about it that way. I didn't see this, right? Because sometimes we are in the forest of our lives. And so a coach offers an outside view, an outside perspective. Um, a coach sees you at your core and deals with you as such, right? Your core highest self. So we often say, I know in my practice and with my colleagues, we say that you are whole and complete. Like that's how we start. So there's nothing to fix because there's nothing wrong, right? So a coach sees you as your best self and works with you as such so that they don't get caught up in your stories or your drama, any of the helplessness, any of the struggles, any of the things that we perceive as problems. Coaches don't get caught up in that because the coach is like, listen, I see you. My coach all the time, he's just like, Jamie, okay. He's like, your power. So you got it. Next thing, right? Not getting caught up in the loop of the story. So the coach holds on to the perspective of you as your highest self, even when you get thrown off that course by circumstances. And to have somebody who is completely and wholly committed to you and your highest self and your highest goals, to helping you discover what those are, to help you to discover and to see and to live from the core of who you really are, and then to hold that space, to hold you accountable, not to them, right? Like as your coach, you don't owe me anything, and I don't have any ulterior motives. I don't have any stakes in it, right? Like this is your life. This is what you want. But I am committed to what you declare from your highest self. And as a coach, I hold that space and I'm not shaken by that, shaken from that space by those things that you come up that come up that you always do, right? The things that come up that always get us shaken, that derail us, those reasons why we haven't made it to those points that we've been looking to make it and we couldn't figure out why. As a coach, I don't get involved in that stuff. I just hold you where you said, and when you start going over there, I'm like, okay, I'm here, and I'll keep calling you back rather than follow after you in the drama, right? So I think about that in my life. Like I said, I have my own coach, and just the development that I've had as a person that then empowers the different goals that I have are immeasurable. Well, they're measurable, but they're invaluable. That's what they are. They're definitely measurable, right? Because it's like I can see in my romantic life, right, which was non-existent, and now I'm with my life partner. Um, that's a lot. Um, I can see with just some health struggles, or not even struggles, but some goals that I had with my health that I just was not making progress with. And my coach being able to reflect some things, some habits, some thought patterns, some beliefs that were operating, that was like, oh, okay, yeah, definitely we get that out of the way, and it's no thing to move forward. And so moving forward and being committed to a health filled lifestyle in a way that I hadn't been before. Um, so, what do you get from coaching? You get someone who doesn't have their own agenda outside of what you set. So you have a partner in your journey to move towards, to declare what you want, what you desire, and not just stay in dreamland, but to walk the path with you to manifesting, to materializing, to creating everything that you desire, to walk that path with you, to hold your hand, to encourage you, to hold you accountable, to call you out, right? Like, we're not yes men just there to say yes to everything. We're there to say yes to your highest self, even if that means saying no to your survival mechanism, or to your habits, or to the things that you're so used to doing, for the sake of who you really are. So, yeah, I saw some comments. Let's see, there was some conversation going on. Does success size dictate the level of success, or is success? That's a great question. I feel like we each have our own definition of success. Um, and I think that there's definitely an increasing of capacity that happens with us. And there might be some things that are very accessible for us on our own. And I do believe that there are some things that require us to be connected and supported in order to access them. Um, I don't know if I answered the question, but let's see. What else? We got, oh, that's the truth. Yes. Iron sharpens iron. Coach, focus on the big picture for the person, full commitment. Exactly. Um, what do they say? You can't see the forest for the trees. Can't see the full picture because you're immersed in the forest. And the coach is there to be with you, but also not is not tangled up in your head, right? Is not tangled up in the thoughts and the ideas and the impressions that you have. What has been the most challenging and most successful thing you've done as being a client to coaching? Ooh, that's a great question. Um, so I mentioned romantic relationship. So this is kind of like a big thing. I've been divorced for 12 years. And through coaching, I was able to, I was not looking for this, okay? Um, but through coaching, I was able to really get some insight into some of my thoughts and beliefs and fears, and how I've acted out of those previously, and the hurts that I had, and my ability to release all of those things. And so releasing them and forgiving for myself, right? Again, it wasn't towards this end, but it was just simply to lighten the load for myself, and to just kind of clear the path for my healing, for just love, just internal. And from that place, I found myself open and receptive to a new start. And this new start is actually happens to be with the man that I had been divorced from for 12 years. We are now back together, and have been back together for some like 8 months, since the beginning of my work with my coaching, so probably about a couple months in. Um, and it's a completely different experience. um, Definitely maturity and growth plays a part. Um, but also, just speaking from my own perspective, um, being at a deeper level of self-awareness, um, and my own power, because I had felt victimized before. I felt like he was doing stuff to me, and this situation did stuff to me, and this stuff happened to me. And in some ways, I guess it could be considered reasonable, but it was not empowering. And one of the things I'm learning is, is it better to be right or to be empowered? Um, and that's kind of like an either or dichotomy that I was in. Um, you know, because in order to be right, you have to make somebody else wrong. And, that's a whole other conversation. But yes, so to answer your question, that is one of the biggest successes that I have achieved in an area that was not moving in that direction before I was doing coaching. Um, Before I was doing coaching, I was real cool. Like, I was very happy, and had some great relationships, but um, I was not where I am now, if that makes sense. So, yeah, excellent question. Getting all up in my business. I love it. Um, so yeah, coaching has meant so much, transformationally for me, and just with some of the people that I've worked with, some of the clients that I've worked with as coach, um, I've experienced them having similar breakthroughs, internally, just in terms of their ways of thinking, being able to see themselves as more, to value themselves higher, and from this space of valuing, have been able to pursue and to acquire different, higher positions, um, pursue lofty goals that they would have never considered before. Like, I had one client who made the decision to move and work abroad. And this was something that she had desired but had suppressed because she didn't see it as possible before. Um, and so now she's working towards that move. Um, just people getting back in touch with their dreams and their desires from a place of possibility rather than from the hurts or the disappointments that they experienced before. Um, so yeah, just the ability to dream bigger, um, and to actually go for it, to give yourself permission to dream again, to desire again. Um, and knowing that with a coach, you have somebody there who, will be there with you to help you to succeed with that. Um, so, anywho, let's see. Let's reverse Kyle's question. Oh, what has been the most challenging, the most successful thing you've learned being a coach to clients? Um, that's a great question, because the lessons that I learned actually helped me to further shape the direction of my coaching practice. So, just a little background, for those who don't know me. I have been a professional opera singer for about 15 years, something like that. And I have been a vocal coach, and voice teacher for 11 years. And so my background, my passions, my love, my areas of work have really, been in the areas of voice. And one of the things that I've learned as coach that has helped me to focus my practice is that oftentimes, um, we suppress our instincts, that inner voice, the small, still voice, that, the whispers, whatever you define it as, will suppress it, just coming from, you know, oh, that's not reason, like, just throwing in the doubt right away. So we'll get this inspiration, and then the doubt will come in, or the fear of judgment, or the fear of failure, or just whatever these fears are. And so oftentimes we'll suppress those things, and silence those things. And I have found in my practices, specifically with, women, we are, um, socialized in this way to, even in terms of with our speaking voices. There's definitely been transformation and in this area, but culturally, worldwide, we find that women's voices have been subjugated to masculine perspectives. And there's just been so much silencing. And I see that in the women that I work with being afraid to pursue what they want to do, being afraid to speak up, whether it's at work or in their relationships, um, fearing rocking the boat, fearing, the effects that it'll have on their families. So just kind of being concerned with everyone and denying themselves. And so I am really finding the importance of really accessing and um, empowering our voices, whether it's our speaking voice, like go ahead and say that thing, like that's freedom. Everything that we don't say is just kind of like a constriction, and it plugs things up. Say that thing, and be bold and brave, and listen. When we get those inspiration, the intuition, the inspiration, when we get those warnings, to trust ourselves. And in trusting ourselves, in listening to our voices and using our voices, we have access to greater levels of success. There's certain things that we won't get if we won't open our mouths. There are certain things that we cannot do if we won't say something. There's certain levels that we can't access if we are not willing to trust and listen to our instincts. So yeah, that's what I've learned as a coach is how important it is to just really empower and trust our voices. Y'all got me out here talking this morning. I love it. Um, okay, so with that, I am going to go ahead and say that I appreciate y'all joining me this morning. I'm about to head out, but I welcome any of you who come in afterwards. I welcome you leaving any questions or comments, feedbacks, anything that you have regarding coaching, um, or any questions that you might have. Oh, I almost forgot. I have an announcement. So, to kind of go along with this theme of why coaching and just really giving insight and introduction into coaching and what it has to offer, I am launching an introductory online workshop, um, The Seeds of Power. And it's about discovering and choosing from your core essential self. And so this workshop will be offered starting next Thursday following my live. So it'll be next Thursday at 10:30. And in this workshop, we'll just kind of explore the power and the tenets of coaching. And you'll get to experience, what coaching has to offer in terms of helping to identify, who you really are at your core self, and to identify the things that can get in the way or that block or hinder you from operating from that space, and then creating a vision of your life were you to truly embrace and to choose from your core essential being. So that information, I'll go back and put that information in the comments of this video, and it'll also be available on my Facebook page, From the Core Coaching on Facebook, and also Instagram, From the Core Coaching. So you can find that information to sign up. I am taking only up to 10 people, so make sure that you get in there and get signed up. I will be launching that link so you can register later today. All right. So, yeah, post any questions, any comments. I will definitely go back and read them and respond. And thank you for participating today, for joining me. Have a great day.